As you're thinking about migrating from Legacy Camunda over to Camunda 8, one of the most important things that you have to think about is actually philosophical. So with Camunda 7, the invocation of a bit of logic, let's say to get information from SAP or to put something into Salesforce, that invocation and execution were sort of united together. They were tightly coupled and they executed as one. Now, this made sense 5 years ago because it was actually very difficult to separate out the logic and you had to work with external factors, and it was more performant to embed things in place when you were talking about maybe a couple of thousand transactions per second. However, in Camunda 8, we're looking at something that is cloud native and meant to scale for millions, billions, sometimes trillions of transactions per year. And in that context, the idea of embedding something in memory doesn't really scale. If you were able to, say, embed that sort of functionality, you would have to give so much horsepower to your process engine that it would be an overwhelming amount of cost. So philosophically, what Camunda 8 has done is that it's actually separated out the invocation of the actual logic from the execution of the logic. So Camunda basically makes a phone call to an external system. That external system does what it's supposed to do, and it returns the input back to Camunda. What that means is that when Camunda calls out for help, depending on the scale of what they need, the external system is allowed to scale to whatever degree they need in order to be able to handle it. So let's say you need to, say, process one invoice. You could just allocate one job worker for that. But let's say it's a surge and you have to deal with 100,000 invoices. In that scenario, the external job worker, the actual execution that's doing the bidding of the invocation, is free to scale up as much as it needs to for as long as it needs to, and then to scale back down. It's just an entirely different philosophical approach. The reason this is important is because you have to think about this when you're moving from Legacy Camunda over to Camunda 8. In Camunda 8, you're designed to be able to scale ad infinitum. And that means that you have certain latitudes and abilities and a vocabulary to describe problems and solutions that didn't previously exist. It would be a shame if you didn't take advantage of them. So what that means is that as you're looking to translate from your Legacy Camunda over to Camunda 8, don't just do a note-for-note recreation, but make it your own. Take advantage of the language features and constructs that are offered to you, and make sure that when you arrive to Camunda 8, you're able to speak like a native and take advantage of all the things that are in place for you, as opposed to mimicking a song and dance that made sense in the old world, doesn't really translate to the new one. One thing I should mention is that CAP BPM is your platinum partner for migration. So we are a certified platinum partner with Camunda, and moreover, we actually guarantee our work in migration. What that means is that if we don't migrate it in the time that we said, for the cost that we said, to your satisfaction, you don't have to pay us. We'll literally put that into the contract. If you're working with a partner that's willing to do the same thing, fantastic. But if your partner isn't willing to make that sort of a commitment to you, perhaps they haven't done as many migrations as we've done, or perhaps they're not as confident in their process as we are in ours. Either way, I think you deserve to know that there are people out there who are willing to guarantee their work. Thank you. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, arguments, anything you want to talk about, contact us at info@capbpm.com.